Hi, my name is Wilman Ziada, and I'm a New York City-based director and creator of theater, television, and film, and a proud FENIX Global Artist Ambassador. Today, I am thrilled to be speaking with the Retro Contempo Artist, Tucker. He just released his original song, Knockout, and for more on Tucker, you can read more about him right below this video. But in the meantime, here's a sneak peek at the lyric video of Knockout.
You trying to get it now? Well, I don't think so, honey. I better shut it down, yeah. I know you're feeling lucky. I guess that you haven't heard the news about the dude that's in front of you. So here's a clue you might want to use, yeah. Well, let me tell you something. I don't mean to do it, but I do. I cause a sonic boom each time I walk into a room. Yeah, when I roll through.
Tucker, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Well, the audience just got a little sneak peek of your original song, Knockout. Now, Tucker, before we begin on where you grew up, how you got started, where did the idea for that song come from?
Well, I had been spending a lot of time writing for other artists and performing for other artists. I did a lot of session work at places like SNL and iHeart and with Carole King on the Today Show, and the list goes on and on. But when the pandemic happened, it really lit a fire under my gay diabetic ass to start, writing and doing my own stuff. And I looked inward, as I think we all did during that time when we were locked in our homes a bit more than we are now. And I felt really inspired by all this past life that I had lived and all the future life that I was about to live. And so I wanted to declare, like, this is who I am, this is what I'm about. And that's how the song came to be. And I've actually never met the other two collaborators on the song before. We all did it remotely during the quarantine times. So it's a true COVID era collab. And I'm just so thrilled that it's out there now.
Well, Tucker, people can read more about you below this video in your bio and obviously all over social media. But in what you just said, that whole opportunity that you took and looking inward during this crazy time to not find your voice, but to celebrate your voice on your terms. You obviously are an unapologetic soul of the planet, but also an artist. I want to know where you grew up and when you knew that you had something a little special to say.
Sure. I grew up about 10 minutes off the George Washington Bridge in New Jersey, and I started going to school in the Bronx in 3rd grade. So I was a commuter kid, and any chance I had to go into Manhattan, I did. I was inherently eager to soak up anything artistic. And while there was some artistic stuff going on in Jersey, all of it was in the city. And because of my proximity, I was able to really explore very early, going to live shows and Broadway shows and gigs and the rest. I grew up in a music business family. My mom is a songwriter and a singer, and my dad's a producer and voice actor. So we were inherently artistic and creative in our household. And I think my parents would have loved for me to become a lawyer or a doctor or something, but they would bring me to their sessions that they were in, and I'd have headphones on that were way too big for my head. And it just got hooked very instantly. I was like, I'm gonna write pop songs like Mom. And they were like, okay, we can't not let him do that.
So it was in your bone marrow. You didn't have it. You didn't have any opportunity to get out. There was no choice. You just knew.
Well, there definitely was choice. I think my parents would have encouraged me to do anything that I would have loved to do, but I always knew deep down that I wanted to be a recording artist, which is why this particular moment is so important on a just self-trajectory professional level, especially having been in the service of other people's stuff for so long. It's really exciting to be stepping out in this way.
Well, what an amazing time for you as an artist, right? You've worked with some of the best in the business in helping serve them. I'm sure those are tools in now your arsenal to help serve yourself in getting your voice literally and figuratively out there. I'm curious to know, not only with Knockout, but looking forward for Tucker, what the dream is. I mean, you obviously have such an amazing talent, skill set as a songwriter, but also and I don't know if I'm saying this right, but you have this underbelly of activism in you. And I don't want to say like activism with any sort of, connotation that might bring up on either side of the spectrum, but this whole notion of being unapologetically you is okay.
Yeah, no, it's certainly like a big mission for me, not only as a recording artist, but just as a human being. I think, being a gay diabetic who's immunocompromised, going through pandemic Trump America, I had a real awakening to my own experience, especially during that time. There was also a lot of experience being shared about people that aren't like me. And I think that it's just super important right now to be putting out the message for anybody that it's so important to be yourself and to be celebrating others, people's selves as well. So not only is that a mission that I'm putting throughout all my music, but just on a personal level, I'm eager to hear stories that aren't mine. I'm eager to share my own. And hopefully by, connecting with people with divergent backgrounds and opinions, we can form more unity and connection. That's the whole point of why we're all here, right? I mean, not to get too like esoteric and deep, but I think we've all been through a lot of trauma in the last year, and it's time for us to be opening our hearts and our minds and embracing each other very openly for who we all really are.
I couldn't agree with you more, Tucker. And you mentioned unity and connection, and I think about FENIX and the mission statement for FENIX, and having now befriended also two of the co-founders, Alan and Lance. Their North Star is that unity and connection in the power of the transcendent beauty of all arts, including music. And I think of you, who obviously also already has a following within the industry, at least here in the States, and probably beyond as well. But this whole notion of the West connecting with the East now more than ever through this app, what are you most excited about in terms of getting on board with FENIX?
Well, it's a super enticing idea to engage with an artist-centered platform like FENIX, particularly because all the streaming platforms and interactive platforms that artists are using these days end up being a lot more about the platforms themselves than about the artists. And so
Right.
money is flowing right to the platform and sort of cutting out the middleman, or rather what FENIX is doing is that it's cutting out the middleman between you and your potential fans, right? So you can communicate with them, interact with them, they can communicate and interact with you. And by association, everything is flowing right to the creator instead of the platform benefiting from the creator and from the creator and their creations. So that's what I'm most excited about. I mean, I love the idea of being able to meet other artists who actually have direct connection with fans and other artists. And beyond that within the States, but also internationally, like you said, it's such an enticing proposition.
Well, you mentioned also cutting out the middleman, also on a financial front, with this new thing I hadn't heard of 8 weeks ago, cryptocurrency, cutting out the middleman of the banks, that people in Singapore can buy your work. And, that is directly going into your FENIX account in a FENIX coin that can easily be transferred to whatever the exchange in US dollar is. It's just like, it's interesting to say it's a groundbreaking concept that more money is going into the artist's pockets.
I know, right?
But that's actually one of the big mission statements of FENIX, which it sounds too good to be true, but it's what it is.
Well, it's not even like, it shouldn't have to be too good to be true, which
I know.
is the ironic part of all of this, and why a platform like FENIX is so groundbreaking on so many levels. I mean, we all live in a world where we've created a lot of urgency for artists and a lot of need for artists, but simultaneously telling artists that they shouldn't be artists, that they shouldn't contribute to the society the way that they are, that it's too hard, so don't try to do that. There's so many underhanded aspects of artistry in our society. So having a thing like FENIX, which is really celebrating the artist and creating possibility for artists that is not really there right now, is, it should be applauded and rewarded. And I'm just very excited to be a part of it.
Well, Tucker, I'm so excited that you took the time to speak with me today. You are such an amazing, singular, authentic talent, whose talent as a singer and a songwriter not only transcends, but also your mission statement. Your North Star is extremely clear and not only going to be inspirational and aspirational for artists, but I also think of like the kids around the world who can look up to Tucker and be like, look, mommy and daddy, look, mommy and dad, look at the, and plus all the things that you deal with on a daily basis from a health perspective, and that instead of letting it hold you back, you move through.
Thanks, Will. And I mean, the feeling is so mutual. I love your work. I love everything you're doing. And I'm just so excited to be joining this community of artists who are all eager to cheer each other on and, you know, celebrate what makes us us. And I'm so thrilled that my mission is being received and understood. And, you know, it's incredibly liberating on an emotional level to hear that, because I'm just starting to step out as a solo artist, and to have the declaration be understood and appreciated is a confirmation of all this hard work I'm doing. So thank you so much.
Well, it's very clear to me, which means it's only going to be very clear also to a lot of other people. And on a personal level, I can't wait to collaborate with you myself. I think that you have this once in a generation quality about you that I dig. And I'm very excited to be speaking with you today, and you know, can't wait to continue the conversation.
In the digital age, artists and bands struggle to make a living. In fact, only a small number of artists can live off their craft. For the 98% of artists that don't have the luxury of being signed to a label, it's tough. But artists deserve to live off their art. Wherever you are around the world, appreciation of music does not change. FENIX brings bands and their fans together, whilst allowing bands to properly monetize their passion. The FENIX app will directly connect bands and fans with no need for middlemen. We're utilizing the blockchain to give the power back to the artist once and for all. Join FENIX, join the change.